June 11th, 2010, Johannesburg, a goal that stopped the world. 16 years later, same teams, same stage, different continent, and this time, Mexico is at home. Welcome to the most historically loaded opener in World Cup history, and trust me, you are not prepared for how deep this story goes. Let's go back. 2010, South Africa made history as the first African nation to host the World Cup. And who did they face in the very first game? Mexico, in front of 84,000 screaming fans in Johannesburg. South Africa scored first, Sifiwe Tshabalala unleashing what many call the greatest opening goal in World Cup history. Mexico equalized through Rafael Marquez. Final score, 1-1. Both teams went home early. Now fast forward to today. It's June 11, 2026. Mexico City, the Estadio Azteca, and the FIFA World Cup has come full circle. This is literally the first time in World Cup history the same two teams have met in the opening match. That's not a storyline, that's destiny. And there's one more layer to this. South Africa's head coach, Hugo Broos, he's 74 years old, Belgian, and he played against Mexico in the 1986 World Cup, here in Mexico, at this very tournament. 40 years later, he's back as a manager, his last job before retirement. You cannot write this stuff. Medium pause. Now let's talk about where this is happening, because the stadium alone deserves its own video. The Estadio Azteca, Mexico City, capacity 87,000, and on June 11th, over 80,000 fans are expected to pack it in. Here's the crazy part. This will be the third time the Azteca has hosted a World Cup opening match. 1970, 1986, and now 2026. No other stadium on Earth has done that. Not the Maracanã, not Wembley, not Camp Nou, the Azteca. The altitude is 2,200 meters above sea level. The noise will be deafening. The pressure will be suffocating. And South Africa walks into all of that as the massive underdogs. Good luck. Let's get into the teams. Mexico first, because they are the story of this tournament. El Tri goes into this World Cup on an 8-game unbeaten run, the longest they've taken into a World Cup. They just won back-to-back CONCACAF titles under Javier Aguirre. The momentum is real. Raúl Jiménez, 35 years old, 44 international goals, third all-time for Mexico. Fulham striker. This man fractured his skull in a collision in 2020, and most people thought his career was over. Not only did he come back, he scored 9 league goals for Fulham this season, and now he's leading the line at a home World Cup. If that's not a redemption arc, I don't know what is. Santiago Jiménez, AC Milan, one of the most lethal penalty box strikers in European football right now. This is his first World Cup, and he arrives on the back of a monster season in Serie A. The partnership with Jimenez up top, terrifying. Edson Alvarez, the captain, the engine room, anchors that midfield and sets the tempo for everything Mexico do. Fenerbahce have been getting the best of him in recent seasons. Expect him to be absolutely bossing this game. Gilberto Mora, 17 years old, SE Ventin. This kid has Real Madrid scouts watching him. If he starts or comes on, he could become one of the youngest Mexicans to ever appear at a World Cup. Remember that name. And then, Guillermo Ochoa, 40 years old. 40! He wasn't even supposed to be here. The original first-choice keeper, Luis Malagón, ruptured his ACL, but Ochoa came back. And if he plays, he becomes just the third player ever to appear in 6 World Cups, alongside Messi and Ronaldo. That's the company he'd be keeping. Mexico aren't just playing for a win here, they're playing for history. Now, South Africa, let's be honest, nobody is picking them to win this game. They're ranked 60th in the world. Their squad is built almost entirely on domestic talent. 19 of their 26 players play in South African leagues. But before you write them off, let me tell you a few things. They topped their African qualifying group ahead of Nigeria. They're back at the World Cup for the first time in 16 years, and they are absolutely electric to watch. Ronwen Williams, captain, goalkeeper, heart and soul of Bafana Bafana. At the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations, he became the first goalkeeper in AFCON history to save 4 penalties in a single shootout. He is world-class on his line and commands his box like a general. Teboho Mokoena, the midfield engine, pinpoint passing, long-range shots, free kick specialist, and relentless press. He is the player South Africa build through. If he's on it, Bafana are dangerous. Lyle Foster, Burnley striker. He became the most expensive South African player of all time when he moved to the Premier League. He's the physical focal point up front and the man most likely to rattle Mexico's defense. Themba Zwane, 36 years old, the veteran playmaker. Bruce described him as vital to the team's identity. If South Africa are going to pull off a shock, expect Zwane to be the one pulling the strings in the final third. And here's the thing about this South Africa team. They are not here to make up the numbers. Bruce has spent 5 years building something real. They believe, and in a World Cup, belief is everything. Tactically, this is a fascinating matchup. Mexico will likely set up in a 4-3-3, their go-to under Aguirre since winning the Gold Cup. They want to dominate possession, use the crowd, and let Jiménez and Giménez bully defenses in the final third. Expect them to be high-tempo from the first whistle. The home crowd will demand it. South Africa, meanwhile, are structured and disciplined under Bruce. They will sit deep, defend in a low block, and look to hit on the counter. Mokoena will be key in breaking up Mexico's play. Foster will hold the ball up, and if Williams has one of those days in goal, it could be a long night for El Tri. The key battle, Edson Alvarez versus Teboho Mokoena in the middle of the park. Whoever dominates that midfield battle wins the match. The key question, can Mexico break South Africa down when 80,000 fans want them to win and the pressure becomes almost unbearable? Or does Bafana sit deep, frustrate, and nick it on the break, just like they did in 2010? Okay, my prediction. Look, on paper, Mexico should win this. Home advantage, higher ranking, better squad depth, the crowd, the altitude, all of it. I'm going Mexico. But, and this is a massive but, South Africa did this once before. They walked into the 2010 World Cup as underdogs and held Mexico to a 1-1 draw. And the Estadio Azteca, for all its magic, also has a history of big occasion nerves for El Tri. If this ends 0-0 or 1-1, nobody should be shocked. My call, Mexico 2-1 South Africa. Jiménez scores, the Azteca erupts, but South Africa make them suffer for every single minute. And Hugo Bruce gets his send-off moment, a goal, a fight, a performance, before riding off into the sunset. One thing I guarantee you, this will be the most watched football match on the planet on June 11th. And when that first whistle blows inside the Azteca, the 2026 World Cup is alive. Mexico versus South Africa. The Estadio Azteca, the World Cup opener. 16 years of history, 80,000 fans, a 40-year-old goalkeeper chasing Messi and Ronaldo's record, a 74-year-old manager in his final act, and Sifiwe Chabalala's ghost floating somewhere over Mexico City. This is football. If you're new here, subscribe. We're breaking down every match of this World Cup. And if you think I got the prediction wrong, drop it in the comments. Let's argue about it. I'll see you on the other side of June 11th.